This lecture addresses essential question number 8. In what ways are presidential and parliamentary systems similar and different? What are the pros and cons of each? Essentially, this question is looking at, if you look into a government, any government, how are legislative, executive, and judicial powers divided up within that government? So, first of all, this is called separation of powers, when you divide powers up within a government. And most types of government have no separation of powers. This would be all classic forms of government except a republic. So a monarchy does not have separation of powers. A democracy does not have separation of powers. A dictatorship does not have separation of powers. The dictator makes the laws, the dictator makes sure that the laws are enforced, and the dictator interprets the laws however he or she wants to. In a republic, though, because the people are in charge and they want to limit the government, republics have established 2 different ways of setting up separation of powers. The first way is called partial or incomplete separation of powers, and that is called a parliamentary system. This was originated by the British. This is what Americans were used to when they first left or revolted against Great Britain. And here's how it works. We're going to draw a picture, and then I'm going to write it out for you. So again, this is a republic, so the people are going to choose representatives. The people are going to choose the legislature from among themselves. Okay? So this is the legislature. All the people who are going to make the rules, the representatives. In Great Britain, they have the House of Lords and the House of Commons. And then, in a parliamentary system, the legislature, all the people in the legislature get together and they choose the executive branch, the chief executive, from among themselves. So in order to get to be the chief executive, which is usually called a prime minister, but not always, you have to first be elected to the legislature. And the legislature chooses who among them is going to be part of the executive branch. And so if you're in the executive, you're in both branches at the same time. One other thing about the parliamentary system is that they don't have set terms. Like here in the United States, our president serves 4 years. In Great Britain, the prime minister serves an indefinite term. It could last for a year, it could last for 20 years. It just depends on what the legislature decides to do. So, their terms are indefinite. Meaning there's no set time limit. People choose the legislature. The general population chooses the legislature. And the legislature chooses the executive from among themselves. From among themselves. And so what you end up with is executive members must also be legislative members, because you can't get to the executive without going through the legislature. And again, as I said, this is a Great Britain has this type of separation of powers, which is partial or incomplete. They do have a separate executive, but it comes from their legislature. All right, and we'll return for section 2 momentarily.